So listen to this. There are 1 in a million talents. Then, there are the ones that only come once in a generation. And finally, there are the real unicorns. Those who are unique across all eras, who have no peers, past, present or future. And right now, that is Nick Woltemade. Forget good feet for a big man. Guys like Crouch were good, but no one really thought someone with a frame like that could go any further. The laws of physics don't usually open exceptions for footballers. It's simple. If you're tiny like Maradona, dribbling will be second nature to you. If you're almost 2 meters tall like Crouch, you better work on that old-up play and get some headers in because you'll never be a dribbler. Except Woltemade, I don't think he got the memo. This 6'6" giant with a size 50 shoe is actually one of the best dribblers and playmakers in Europe. Last season, this guy had more successful take-ons per 90 than the likes of Rafinha and Brahim Diaz, and more expected assists than Kane or Musiala. There is a reason why they call him Messi in Germany. I guarantee you have never seen anything like this, because it shouldn't even be possible for someone of that size to move as smoothly as he does. Woltemade is simply a new kind of footballer, a new prototype. But at the end of the day, there's one question you can't stay away from. This is a striker who only scored 30 goals across 7 seasons, who, despite his height, has only scored 2 headers over his whole Bundesliga career, and one who, just last year, was a free agent. So, how in the world is he worth 90 million euros? Yeah, it's not so simple. First of all, it's not like he was out of a job because Werder Bremen didn't want him. It was he who refused to renew. After all, he had been there for 14 years and they still couldn't understand what to do with him. Look, by 2018, Bremen had been rotting in the middle of the table for years. They had not been the same since the days of Klose, Diego and Ozil. The whole club, the whole fan base was desperate and, of course, almost like a miracle, Woltemade popped up. A proper Bremen boy who had been at their academy since the age of 8 and was now captaining their under-17s and putting down 26 goal contributions in 24 matches, all while looking like that. They simply could not resist. The following season, they put a 17-year-old up training with the first team, and though at first they refused to actually play him, instead sending him off to the under-19s every weekend, it was almost like he was teasing them. After going up 2 youth levels at once, somehow Woltemade got even more deadly, now with 23 goal contributions in 15 matches, meaning that by October they had already let him on the bench. By the winter break, he was lining up for friendlies alongside Claudio Pizarro, and by February, having been called up for 5 consecutive match days, and with the onset of the pandemic making everyone a little crazy, head coach Florian Kohfeldt said to hell with it and made him an outright starter for their following match, the youngest to ever put on their shirt. After 41 years, he had broken the record of Thomas Schaaf, one of Bremen's all-time greats. But if the fans hoped he'd be their savior, they couldn't even begin to imagine how long it would take before he even celebrated his first goal for them. Though, to be honest, the signs were there. In 5 appearances that season, Woltemade watched his own team get defeated every single time. Matter of fact, even after being promoted to the first team the next season, it wasn't until the 12th league game that he finally experienced what it felt like to win a match. And if that wasn't bad enough, then Woltemade ended up in the hospital with a viral infection sidelining him for 33 days, and ultimately weakening him enough that by the time he made it back, he ended up tearing a lateral ligament, being ruled out for the rest of the season. And watching as his teammates got defeat after defeat until, inevitably, they got relegated for the first time since 1980. Suddenly, Werder Bremen had hit a new kind of low, and still, Woltemade could not catch a break. Not only did he have Füllkrug blocking his way into the team, but he missed out on the whole first half of the season after being forced into surgery, and by the end, as Bremen narrowly achieved promotion back to the top, he had somehow only played 1% of the available minutes. So, as everyone began forgetting about him, Bremen made the drastic decision of loaning him out to SV Elversberg, who had just been promoted to the 3rd tier of German football. One wrong move and his career was over. Sure, Elversberg had just come from the 4th division, but by the time Woltemade arrived, they were already 6 games in, only a point from the top, and believe it or not, had knocked out Bayer Leverkusen from the German Cup. They meant serious business, and though that was why Woltemade picked him, it also meant he wasn't guaranteed a place in the starting 11. As he'd go on to admit, things didn't go well at the beginning. 2 months flew by with Woltemade riding the bench until one day he came in late to get a wonderful assist, earning himself a start a couple weeks later, and starting right there, he went on a streak of 11 goal contributions in 7 games, scoring his team's only goal the very next match, then getting the opener against Freiburg's B team before winning the penalty for their 3rd goal, which would become a trend as these 3rd-tier players simply could do nothing to stop his unexpectedly silky dribbling, winning 2 penalties and assisting a 3rd as they won 4-3 a couple weeks later, then chipping the keeper the very next game, already being put on penalty duty in the one after that, and closing off that streak with 2 goals and an assist in a 3-0 win, even dinking the ball over the keeper for his first. In the blink of an eye, Woltemade had Elversberg ready for his 2nd consecutive promotion, already 11 points in front by February as the whole squad seemed to have accepted him as their star player, all questioning themselves how he could have gone under the radar for so long. And even better, towards the end, as the club's form dipped severely with his teammates second-guessing themselves and crumbling under the pressure of their own overperformance, it was Woltemade who showed up repeatedly to clinch point after point, as they were only able to escape defeat in 4 of their last 8 matches, scoring the winner against Victoria Köln, then both of their goals in a 2-2 draw against Duisburg, with the 2nd being just unbelievable, and finally, as they reached the last game of the season, having to win as a single point kept them at the top, he came up again, smacking in the goal of the title to take the league's Player of the Season award with an astounding 56% of the votes, despite only playing 64% of the available minutes, and bringing his league tally up to 19 goal contributions, though he himself would hilariously claim that I was actually really unlucky. If you look at our games, I could have had more assists. But even all of this is excluding the Saarland Cup matches, in which he put down 7 goals in 3 games with a man-of-the-match performance in the final against rivals FC Saarbrücken, converting the penalty that sent him into extra time, and then handing his teammate the winner on a silver platter, taking the double and reaching 27 goal contributions, one every 91 minutes, which, regardless of the quality of the opposition, was something Werder Bremen could not ignore. Still, only 21 and now climbing up 2 tiers straight back into the Bundesliga, the months flew by with Woltemade going from one position to the other without any meaningful outcome, and though in January he was strangely afforded his only start in 4 months precisely against Bayern and did manage to put up a good impression, nearly getting a backhill assist early on and earning praise from his manager who claimed that we weren't scratching our eyes because we know what Nick can do. Nothing really changed. Even if they took the win, the dry streak persevered, and in April, Woltemade shocked everyone by announcing that, desperate to shake things up in hope of a different outcome, after 14 years at the club, he would refuse to renew his contract and would leave for free at the end of the season, which must have led Bremen towards instant regret, as they'd start him for every remaining game of the season, watching as he finally ended his dry streak on the 39th Bundesliga appearance of his career, equalizing against Borussia Mönchengladbach, catching his stride and getting a second to take the Man of the Match award, but instantly ruling out any reconciliation with his childhood club, claiming that, though it honestly hurts my heart, I knew I had 2 games left and I had to at least get 1 goal in front of these fans. Now, searching the transfer market for a new home and defying every stereotype associated with his build, Woltemade paraded around a scouting report that, though miserable when it came to any goal-scoring stat, was already then incredible in every other way. Only 5% of Bundesliga forwards had more shot-creating actions than him, only 7% had more successful take-ons, and not a single one had put in more tackles. It just needed one club to trust that he could find his goal-scoring instinct, and that's just what Stuttgart did. Having just finished second, their best in 17 years, and much thanks to the 30 goals from Guirassy, who had just been sold to Dortmund, Stuttgart knew they needed the miracle in order to keep this up, and Woltemade for free. That was such a low-risk, high-reward move, they just couldn't say no to it. And with Woltemade's whole family being Stuttgart fans despite coming from the other side of the country, it almost seemed like fate. But the best was that neither side let themselves get carried on, as with Stuttgart splashing 50 million on two major strikers, Undav and Demirovic, not even registering Woltemade for the Champions League, all the weight of Guirassy's departure had been taken off his back. But though there was really no need to rush things, Woltemade almost tempted him to, smacking one top pins on his first start, even if against a second-tier club in a cup game, then going off with the German under-21s and putting down 4 goal contributions in 3 matches to keep his undefeated streak that he had kept going since his debut a year before, then getting another goal in his first match back, again in the cup competitions, but earning himself a late appearance in the next league game in which he quickly grabbed another goal, meaning that next month, once he got himself an assist before he scored for the 3rd consecutive cup game, effortlessly dribbling past the keeper to slide it in. Well, 3 days later, when manager Sebastian Hoeneß found his team trailing behind Union Berlin at halftime, he decided to set him free up front. And in the space of 6 minutes, Woltemade scored twice to level the match, once again dribbling the keeper for his first and then channeling his inner Berbatov to get in position to score the second. From there on out, not even the price tags attached to his 2 striking partners could justify leaving him out of the starting 11. Only Kane and Ekitike would be scoring at a faster rate than him. The very next game, Woltemade scored and assisted to secure the 3-1 win, making the league's team of the week twice in a row, and as his market value nearly doubled, he came back after the winter break to score the winner against Leipzig and another the very next game, though he was still warming up. The next month, after falling ill for a few days, he came in with 20 minutes left as they trailed against Wolfsburg, and starting in midfield, he brought a man down, dashed past the second, and faked 3 defenders into giving him the gap he needed to score one of the goals of the season. After that, there was no secret anymore. Now he had Eurosport describing him as Musiala in the body of a basketball player, his own teammates nicknaming him the 2-meter Messi because Woltemade is a living paradox and he knows it. As he said it himself, nobody plays like me. And after 2 more goals and an assist over the next 3 games, he'd go off with the under-21s again and would show the Spanish just how unprepared everyone is to face him. Coming off of 3 consecutive games with an assist to his name and getting on the scoreboard 3 minutes in, getting past their whole defensive line with a single nutmeg before chipping the goalkeeper. Taking the 87 minutes remaining to punish them twice more, taking a hat-trick in what was the final game before the under-21 Euros. This was a warning. At this point, he had the usual suspects, Bayern Munich, coming for his signing before he could do much harm to their German monopoly. But even though Woltemade himself was so interested that he instructed his agent to wave away any other interested clubs, a list that, by the way, included Real Madrid, Stuttgart were not up for games, demanding 100 million, 65 more than their record sale Benjamin Pavard, though Bayern insisted on bidding a measly 40 million, so every side just waited around to see what else Woltemade could do, and, well, he did what he does, scoring another against Leipzig to put Stuttgart in the German Cup final before closing out the season with 3 consecutive matches scoring and quickly coming back for that final, where, having scored in every cup game so far, it was only right that he opened the scoring to hand Stuttgart their first trophy in 18 years, putting them in European competitions again as he got named the competition's top scorer and the Bundesliga's newcomer of the year, closing out his club season with a completely revamped scouting report that now added to all that he had before, also showed him as the 3rd player in Europe with the most touches in the opponent's box, behind only Mbappe and Salah, as well as the highest goal-scoring frequency among all players 22 or younger, and a rate of expected assists in the 95th percentile that showed that, once again, he was owed a far better stats line than his teammates provided him with. Though, thankfully, soon that wouldn't be a problem, as after taking a little detour to join the actual German national team for the Nations League, as rumors went around that after a decade of waiting, they may have finally found the next in line for the striking dynasty of Ziller, Müller, Klinsmann and Klose, it was finally time to play the Under-21 Euros. If Woltemade had closed off the preparation matches with a hat-trick, he made sure to start the tournament with another just to set the tone, being asked about links to the Premier League and claiming that it wouldn't be proper scouting if I wasn't on their radar, before securing their spot in the knockouts with a goal and 2 assists against Czechia, showing up in the last 16 against Italy with another goal and another assist, before scoring 12 minutes into their semi-final against France, so that, even as he finally ended his 17-game winning streak with a defeat in the final, he had a hand on 60% of Germany's goals, he was the competition's top scorer, he was in the team of the tournament, and across his entire Under-21 career, he had averaged a goal contribution every 55 minutes, meaning that, while Bayern were throwing a fit over his price tag, even though Kolo Muani and Ekitike had just left the Bundesliga for 95 million each, as had already happened with Wirtz, the Premier League got to him first, with Newcastle losing their heads after a summer of rejection, losing Alexander Isak to Liverpool for a Premier League record 145 million euros, and going after their own record signing, handing Stuttgart 85 million, plus another 5 in add-ons. Now, I just need Woltemade and Johan Visa to recreate that picture of Crouch and Defoe, though this will be something entirely new.